The roar of the crowd enveloped George Strait as he stood on stage, bathed in lights and energy. He finished the final notes of his song, allowing the last vibrations to linger in the air. The applause washed over him, a comforting wave, but tonight was different. As he stepped backstage, the adrenaline buzz faded, replaced by a weight in his heart. In the dimly lit area behind the stage, a young stagehand approached him, clutching an envelope. "Here you go, George. This came for you," he said, curiosity brightening his eyes. "It's from a girl named Clara." Taking the envelope, George felt a sharpness of interest prick at his chest. He opened it and carefully unfolded the letter inside. The handwriting was childlike but earnest, the ink a cheerful mix of colors. As he began to read, the applause grew distant, leaving only the sound of his breath and the soft rustle of the paper. "Dear Mr. Strait," the letter began, "my name is Clara. I am 10 years old and I live in an orphanage." Each sentence pulled him into Clara's world, a place filled with dreams of finding a family and belonging. She wrote of her hopes for love, laughter, and friends, simple things that felt monumental for a child living alone. With every line, George felt a tightening in his chest. The stark contrast between his glamorous life and Clara's painful reality gnawed at him. While he stood beneath bright lights, adored by thousands, she was navigating life's harshest truths alone. The ache in his heart deepened, the burden of his celebrity suddenly feeling hollow against the vividness of her words. He skimmed Clara's letter once more, his finger brushing the delicate paper until he reached a small photograph tucked inside. Clara's face shone with innocence and dreams unbroken, but her eyes revealed a deeper longing, one that broke the heart of a man accustomed to joy and appreciation. The backstage, usually a haven of excitement, now felt like a cage around him. Staring at Clara's smiling face, he grappled with the emptiness that had started to seep into his soul. Fame had taken root in his life, but real purpose seemed lost somewhere in the distance. What had happened to the passion that had once driven him to make a difference through music? He thought of his sister, taken too soon by tragedy, and remembered the warmth of music binding their lives. It had always been a source of healing, their bridge between joy and sorrow. But in the chaos of his career, that simple truth had been overshadowed by wealth and recognition. George folded Clara's letter carefully and returned it to its envelope. It was a call to action, an invitation to reignite a purpose he had long neglected. He had once envisioned his songs as lifelines for those in need. Could Clara's letter be the catalyst that led him back to that dream? Sitting alone in the shadowy backstage, George felt a flicker of resolve stir within him. This little girl's dreams would not fade in silence, and neither would his passion for connection. It was time to bridge the vast chasm between their worlds, to transform his music from mere entertainment to a means of hope and change. Clara's voice echoed in his heart, inspiring him to act. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the small Texan town where George had grown up. Memories washed over him like a warm breeze, transporting him back to simpler times, the days when music was not a career, but a joyful expression of life. George found himself leaning against the porch railing of his childhood home, its chipped paint a testament to the years gone by. Guitar in hand, he plucked at the strings absent-mindedly, letting the sound drift into the fading light. Each note resonated with the echoes of laughter and love that flowed through that modest house. He remembered Saturday nights with his family, gathered close as his mother and father sang old country tunes that filled the air with warmth. Music had been their passport to connect with one another, a thread that stitched their lives together amidst the challenges of rural living. George's mind wandered to his sister, Jennifer, whose laughter was like sunlight breaking through clouds. She had been his partner in every childhood adventure, from climbing trees to building forts. Their shared love for music bound them even closer. He recalled the way they would harmonize together, voices intertwining effortlessly. It was a sweet memory but tinged with sorrow, as Jennifer's life had been cut short in a tragic accident, a loss that had left a lifelong gash in his heart. Clara's letter had stirred a whirlwind of emotions, forcing him to confront that pain anew. As a boy, George had promised himself he would use music to help others, to carry the torch of hope that Jennifer had so fervently believed in. But the years rolled on, and ambition took the front seat. The noise of fame had muffled that promise, and now he stood at a crossroads, yearning to revisit the roots of his calling. He closed his eyes, the notes he strummed merging into a medley of memories. His fingers moved almost on autopilot, weaving together the essence of those early songs, the first compositions born from teenage heartache, dreams, and the laughter shared with friends. Those were the righteous beginnings, before the industry's demands drowned out the heart of his music. A sudden rustle interrupted his thoughts as he opened his eyes. Norma, his wife, approached. A gentle smile spread across her face, the sunlight catching her hair. She placed a hand on his shoulder, sensing the weight on his heart. "You're lost in thought again, aren't you?" she asked softly, her voice a balm to his troubled spirit. George smiled faintly, his gaze still locked on the horizon. Just thinking about how things used to be, and about Clara. He handed her the letter, feeling a flush of vulnerability as he shared Clara's words and dreams. Norma read quietly, her features softening as she absorbed the message. "She sounds like a remarkable little girl. It's heartbreaking to see so much longing in someone so young." She paused, looking up at him. "What do you think you'll do?" He sighed deeply, the exhale carrying a mix of sorrow and determination. "I've lost sight of why I started this journey in the first place. I want to make a difference again, to help kids like her. I don't want to just be a name on a poster or a voice on the radio. I want my music to mean something." Norma nodded, understanding glistening in her eyes. "You've always had that gift, George. Your music can heal hearts. Why not use your platform to raise awareness about Clara's world? You could organize something, a concert maybe. Combine your gifts for a cause." The idea took root in his mind, growing brighter with every heartbeat. "A concert for orphan care," he breathed, testing the thoughts that coursed through him. "I could invite other artists, bring attention to their struggles, make a real impact." Norma's eyes sparkled with encouragement. "That's exactly it. Think about it. Your fans would rally behind you. They care about you, and they'll care about your message." In that moment, George felt the weight of his past merge with the urgency of his present. Clara's dream sparked a flicker of purpose in his soul, a light nudging him toward a new destiny. The visions of his sister danced in his mind, blending seamlessly with Clara's hopeful gaze in that photograph. "Let's do it," he said, newfound determination drenching his words. "I'll reach out to Tommy and see if he can help organize everything. It's time to connect my music with meaning." Norma's smile shone like a beacon. "You've got this, George. You're not just a musician, you're a storyteller. You have the power to inspire change." As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, George felt invigorated. The music that once carried the laughter of his family would soon carry the cries for help from children like Clara. It would be the voice of healing, a new beginning born from the roots of loss and love. Tomorrow would bring the first step toward a journey that might just bridge the gap between his glamorous lifestyle and the heartfelt realities that needed his voice. He strummed another chord, listening closely as the beautiful notes danced in the evening air, teasing the outline of a symphony waiting to emerge from his heart. In the following days, George was swept into a whirlwind of ideas and plans. The vision for the concert, Songs of Hope, took root. He called Tommy, his manager, spilling out the details of his ambition. "Let's make this an event," he said, his voice steady with conviction. "I want to invite other artists and bring attention to the plight of orphans." Tommy was intrigued, his enthusiasm matching George's. "That's a fantastic idea, George. We can gather some big names. Your fans would rally behind this cause." With renewed purpose, George spent hours drafting plans, reaching out to fellow artists, and organizing logistics. Stars responded with support, inspired by George's heartfelt mission. Each confirmation felt like a stepping stone towards something significant, a lifeline connecting his music to meaning. One day, George decided to visit the orphanage where Clara lived. A blend of excitement and apprehension stirred within him as he drove through the familiar streets, recalling his own childhood in Texas. Upon his arrival, the sound of laughter greeted him, filling the air alongside the scent of freshly baked cookies. Clara, with her radiant smile, ran toward him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "You came!" she exclaimed, her joy infectious. George scooped her up, lifting her high before setting her down, overwhelmed by the warmth she radiated. They spent the day together, Clara introducing him to her friends. In between laughter and stories, George listened as the children shared their dreams and fears. When Clara spoke about wanting a family, her voice trembled with hope and longing. It struck George deep within his soul. He saw not only her desire reflected in her eyes, but the myriad of children like her. Sitting on the swings, Clara looked up at him and asked, "Are you really going to help kids like me?" Kneeling to her height, George said, "Absolutely, Clara. Your story is going to help others understand, and we will make a difference together." As he left the orphanage that day, George felt invigorated. Clara's trust inspired him to focus on their shared mission. The concert wasn't just about raising funds. It was about amplifying voices that often remained silent. With the concert date approaching, George and Tommy worked hard to promote the event. Posters went up, and social media buzzed with anticipation. George felt an electrifying mix of nerves and excitement swell within him. The weight of responsibility was tangible. This event could change lives. The night of Songs of Hope arrived, and the amphitheater sparkled under the stars. As he stood backstage, the energy pulsing through the crowd was electric. George took a moment, inhaling the scent of the summer air, mixed with popcorn and laughter. When he finally walked onto the stage, the audience erupted into applause. It was a wave of support and warmth that wrapped around him, urging him forward. He started with a song about love and resilience, strumming his guitar with a heart full of hope. During intermissions, he told Clara's story, drawing the audience into the emotional landscape of the children he hoped to uplift. The night shimmered with shared stories and musical magic. Clara, now seated in the front row, radiated charm and pride as she watched her dreams take flight. The finale arrived, and George was joined by the other artists. Together they sang a powerful anthem of unity and compassion, the music swelling in harmony. As the last notes echoed into the night, George felt his heart swell. He wasn't just a performer, but a vessel of hope. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, tears, and applause, George realized that healing could begin with music. It was the kind of magic that not only entertained, but also ignited a flame of change in the world. And beneath the bright lights, Clara stood, her face glowing with hope, reminding him of the purpose that had brought him here. As the evening concluded, George left the stage feeling transformed. The journey ahead promised challenges, but where once he felt the weight of fame alone, now he felt a collective heartbeat, music connecting lives one note at a time. This was just the beginning. In the weeks following the Songs of Hope concert, George felt a renewed sense of purpose pulse through him. The event had garnered significant attention, helping to raise both awareness and funds for orphan care. News outlets covered the concert, focusing on Clara's story and the hope it symbolized for countless children. Every day brought new emails and messages, people moved by the night, eager to collaborate or contribute. Yet amidst the whirlwind of excitement, George knew this was merely the beginning. He felt an insatiable hunger to sustain the momentum they had created, to ensure that Clara and other kids like her wouldn't just be fleeting stories, but rather voices that echoed in the hearts of the community. One breezy afternoon, while walking on a familiar stretch of land near his childhood home, he pondered the next steps. The fields dotted with wildflowers rippled in the gentle wind, reminding him of simpler times when he and Jennifer would frolic through the tall grass, dreams unrestrained. George's mind drifted back to the vows they made to uplift those around them through music, a promise he had momentarily forgotten amid the chaos of fame. Determined to revive his commitment, George called a meeting with local businesses and community leaders. His vision for a foundation dedicated to supporting orphans and vulnerable youth took shape. They discussed workshops for life skills, mentorship programs, and most importantly, music therapy sessions, tools to empower children with the skills necessary for success. That evening, as he sat on the porch, guitar resting comfortably on his knee, he felt a gentle breeze caressing his face. It was a moment of silence, a stillness that felt expansive. He strummed a few soft chords, allowing the music to flow through him, a healing balm for the soul. Each note echoed with the promise of change, a language that connected him to his roots. The next step was to bring Clara into this evolving narrative. He knew it was essential for her to feel involved, to see that her dreams of helping children could become a reality. After reaching out to the orphanage staff, they agreed to bring Clara to one of the planning sessions. On the day of the meeting, George felt equal parts exhilarated and nervous. He wanted Clara to not only see how her story mattered, but to unleash the fire within her to inspire others. As she entered the room, her small stature illuminated by the sunlight streaming through the windows, he felt an overwhelming wave of affection. She was a beacon of hope, radiating resilience. "Hi, Clara," George greeted her, bending down to her eye level. "Are you ready for some exciting news?" "Yes, Mr. Strait," she exclaimed, hopping slightly on her toes, her eyes sparkling. The meeting unfolded with a mixture of discussions, plans, and laughter. George introduced Clara to the guests, explaining how their stories and music would shape the foundation. As they talked about programs and ideas, he watched her absorb every word. It was as if the room itself lit up with her presence, igniting a passion in everyone that had been dormant for too long. After the meeting, George gathered Clara aside. "What do you think? How does it feel to talk about helping others?" Clara thought for a moment, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It feels important, like we're all in this together. Can I help with the singing part? Maybe we can get them to sing too." He chuckled softly, touched by her eagerness. "We need all voices, Clara. Your voice brings everyone together. Let's plan a concert just like we did before. Music can bring lots of happy feelings." Her enthusiasm was unmistakable. "I can write a song, a happy song that talks about family and friends." As they sketched out ideas for Clara's song, George was struck by a revelation. A song carrying their shared dreams could be a testament to resilience, crafted not just from sorrow, but from hope, laughter, and love. That night they stayed up late, weaving together melodies and lyrics, Clara leading the way. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly on the foundation. George and Clara visited orphans in nearby towns. Each visit filled the spaces of their hearts with unfiltered joy as they listened to stories of hopes and dreams. They held workshops where kids painted, wrote, and sang. It wasn't just about support. It was about forging connections that would last a lifetime. One afternoon, as they conducted a music session, Clara stood on stage surrounded by fellow children who were eager to share their stories. She looked beautifully radiant under the stage lights, her small frame brimming with confidence. George watched proudly, noting the profound transformation taking place before his eyes. "I wrote a song," Clara said, her voice trembling slightly, yet filled with determination. She glanced at George, who nodded reassuringly from beside her. "It's about finding family and never giving up. It's called Together We Sing." As Clara sang, her voice rose with clarity, illuminating the room. Little by little, the other children joined in, voices harmonizing, and the energy surged. They sang about hope, resilience, and the bonds that tied them all together. George's heart swelled, overwhelmed by emotion as he witnessed her growth. The little girl who once longed for a family, now leading her peers through a heartfelt anthem. After they finished, the room erupted in applause. Clara beamed, and George enveloped her in a warm embrace. "You did it, Clara. You brought everyone together through your voice." It was a pivotal moment, a beautiful tapestry woven from dreams and hope. George rediscovered his purpose in this collaborative act of growing and giving back. As they left the venue that day, the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue over the horizon. They walked side by side, Clara recounting every detail of the concert, the magic spilling into their laughter. George knew this experience marked not just a rebirth for him, but also for Clara and countless others. Each strum of his guitar rang true, echoing the legacy of love that had long been a part of his life. Music wasn't merely a craft, it was a testament to healing, growth, and the persistence of hope born from loss. Together, they would build something beautiful, a chorus driven by purpose, resilience, and hope, a legacy that would ripple through the lives of many. As the weeks turned into months, George and Clara poured their hearts into the foundation, hosting workshops, concerts, and community events that uplifted many children. The sound of laughter echoed from the venues they visited, and the air was filled with joy brought forth by shared moments. Yet amid the light, shadows of doubt crept in. At one particularly busy workshop, George took a moment to scroll through social media when he stumbled upon a critical post. It dismissed the concert as a fleeting act to bolster his career, leaving him feeling as if the ground had shifted beneath his feet. "Everything we've done is for them," he whispered, struggling with the knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. Could he truly make a lasting difference? Was he merely seeking validation through past fame? That evening, as he sat alone on his porch, strumming his guitar absent-mindedly, the music simply failed to soothe his restless mind. The weight of uncertainty bore down on him like a heavy shroud. With each note, he recalled the joy he had once felt, and the vitality that had filled his heart. Clara's radiant smile surfaced in his thoughts, nudging him, yet self-doubt lingered. "Why do you feel this way?" he muttered to himself, frustration simmering just below the surface. He had always believed in the healing power of music, yet now he found himself shackled by anxiety and uncertainty. The next day, while Clara bounced into their office, her exuberance filled the room with warmth. "Mr. Strait, guess what? I wrote another song," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling like the sun illuminating a clear blue sky. Shaking off his preoccupation, George looked up, forcing a smile. "That's wonderful, Clara. What's it about?" "It's about believing in yourself and how you can be anything. I want to share it with everyone at our next concert," she said, her excitement radiating through the air. "Of course, we'll work on it," George replied, genuine pleasure pulsing in his chest at her energy. Nevertheless, the familiar shadows of doubt loomed large in his mind as he pondered what lay ahead. As the next concert approached, George felt a familiar hollowness. Standing backstage, he listened to the excited chatter of attendees but felt distant from it all. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation, yet his heart remained detached, as if he were observing through a foggy window, removed from the magic that once flowed so freely. When Clara stepped onto the stage, poised and ready to share her new song, George watched from the shadows. She looked small, yet mighty under the glowing lights. "Hi everyone. I wrote a song called Believe. It's about being brave and not being scared," she announced. As Clara began to sing, a melody flowed through the audience, reaching him like warm sunlight. With each note sung, George felt its penetrating warmth wash over him, easing the tension in his heart. It was a reminder that their work mattered, that hope was a tangible force that resonated in their shared music. In that moment, George remembered why he had embarked on this journey alongside Clara. Her unwavering determination ignited something within him, pulling him back into the mission they were committed to. As she sang, the shadows of doubt began to retreat, replaced by warmth and optimism. When she finished, the audience erupted into applause, and Clara beamed with pride. George stepped into the spotlight beside her. "You were incredible, Clara. That was beautiful," he said, crouching down to meet her gaze, feeling joy rekindle in his heart. "Thanks, Mr. Strait. I was brave, right?" Clara asked, her voice laced with innocence. "Yes, you were my brave little star." Yet despite the exhilaration of the moment, doubt still loomed. Although the night felt victorious, George knew they faced real challenges. The success of the concert didn't erase the financial burdens or the pressure of sustaining the Foundation's mission. In the following days, George and the team brainstormed fresh strategies to reinvigorate their efforts amidst dwindling resources. During a team meeting, Clara sat attentively at the end of the table, her small figure surrounded by adults engaged in serious discussions. George felt an urge to protect her from the weight of their concerns, yet he noticed her listening intently. "I think we should have a talent show," Clara interjected, her youthful fervor breaking through the tension. "Everyone can perform, it'll be fun, and we can raise money too." The room fell silent for a moment before laughter erupted at the spontaneity of her suggestion. George felt a chuckle slip through his lips, grateful for her lightness. "That's a brilliant idea, Clara." Determined to take her suggestion seriously, he found newfound energy. "We can make a talent show bring the community together. Local artists could sponsor the event, and every ticket sold will go directly to the Foundation." With Clara's vision at the forefront, they began to brainstorm themes, acts, and even baking contests to accompany the show. Clara's enthusiasm was infectious, revitalizing everyone around them. On the night of the talent show, the venue sparkled with fairy lights and the joyous chatter of families gathering. George watched as Clara flitted around backstage, helping other children prepare for their moments in the spotlight. Her confidence shone brightly, illuminating the space with an incandescent glow. When Clara took the stage, ready to showcase her act, the audience erupted into applause, eager to see the little girl who had blossomed into a powerful force. Her voice rang out strong and clear, and George stood in awe, feeling the warmth of presence wrap around him. As the night unfolded, he realized that doubt didn't vanish entirely. Instead, it transformed into motivation. It became a companion that taught him resilience and fostered teamwork among the children and adults alike. Together, through shared stories and expressions of creativity, they celebrated their journeys. As applause filled the air and stars twinkled above, George felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over him. They had come together, creating something lasting through a harmonious exchange that transcended their fears and struggles. In that moment, George understood. The journey was no longer just about erasing doubt. It was about embracing the road ahead. Each note resonated with love, perseverance, and hope for those who needed it most. The challenges were now a part of a shared experience, shaping them all into something beautiful, reminding them that in unity they could confront any doubt that might arise. As the days rolled into weeks after the talent show, the foundation burgeoned with renewed energy. George and Clara became a dynamic team, moving through events with a shared vision. With Clara's vibrant spirit and George's seasoned experience, they ignited enthusiasm that spread throughout the community. Children came in droves, eager to participate and share their stories as music echoed through the halls of their makeshift home. One crisp autumn morning, as leaves danced in the breeze outside, George sat in his office, surrounded by papers and flyers. The sun poured through the window, casting a warm glow on his cluttered desk, where a half-finished song lay waiting for his attention. Yet he felt a sense of urgency pulling at him, a whisper that told him it was time to do something bigger. "Clara," he called softly, causing the young girl to poke her head around the door, her hair shimmering in the sunlight like strands of gold. "Come here for a second." "Yeah, Mr. Strait," she said, her innocent smile lighting up the room. "I've been thinking. We've built something great together, but I think we can do even more," he said, the weight of his thoughts spilling into the air. "What if we host a regional music festival? We can invite children from neighboring towns and create a platform for them to share their music. It could raise funds and awareness for our foundation." Clara's eyes widened, reflecting a mix of surprise and delight. "That sounds amazing, but can we really do it?" "Why not? We've already done so much. This is just the next step," George encouraged, feeling a surge of adrenaline course through him. "But what if it's too big? What if no one shows up?" Clara's voice dipped, a flicker of doubt surfacing momentarily. "Clara," George said gently, kneeling to meet her eye level, "remember what we learned from the talent show? It's about the people and the music. With each performance, we build bonds. I believe in this, and so should you. This is our moment to inspire others and show them that art has the power to heal." A spark ignited in Clara's eyes, and she nodded vigorously. "So okay, let's do it." They began planning in earnest. Flyers were designed, local businesses were approached for sponsorship, and community meetings filled their calendar. George recruited volunteers, and Clara was a whirlwind of creativity, spreading excitement among her friends. As the festival date drew closer, a patchwork of colors adorned the community area. A stage was constructed, booths were arranged, and Clara's infectious spirit became a core element, lifting everyone's morale. Still beneath the surface, George wrestled with his own fears. One evening, while sitting on his porch with a guitar in hand, he noticed the sky turn dark, clouds rolling in. The impending storm felt ominous, mirroring the doubts lurking within him. What if they had overreached? What if the day arrived and no one showed up to support them? "Mr. Strait," Clara's voice broke through his thoughts, and George looked up to see her standing at the bottom of the porch steps, rain drizzling on the wooden deck. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, just thinking," he replied, forcing a smile. "Don't worry. Everyone is excited for the festival." Clara bounded up the steps, her presence exuding a warmth that chased away his cold thoughts. "Just imagine how many kids we can help. Remember how much fun we had at the talent show." "You're right. I just want this to make a difference," George admitted, vulnerability softening his demeanor. "It will. I promise," she grinned, leaning against the porch railing. "And if the sky is cloudy, we could turn it into a rain show. We'll dance in the rain and make it even more special." Laughter spilled from George's lips at the thought. A rain show? That would be something. The days rolled by, and the festival finally arrived. George stood backstage watching Clara interact with the children, setting each one at ease, her infectious enthusiasm spreading through the crowd. The area around them buzzed with energy as families filled the space, creating a vibrant tapestry of laughter and anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," George called out as he stepped onto the stage, "welcome to the first annual Kids Music Festival." Applause erupted, warm and inviting. As Clara stood beside him, a glint of pride shimmering in her eyes, George felt the weight of his doubts slip away. The festival unfolded like a dream, with children performing heartfelt songs, sharing stories, and even teaching the audience a few dance moves. Clara took the stage to sing her new anthem, a powerful message of unity and hope that resonated deep within the souls of everyone present. As she sang, George watched in awe, pride swelling in his chest. "Every single one of us has a voice," Clara proclaimed, her spirit igniting the crowd. "Together we can change the world." The audience erupted in cheers, and George felt a rush of warmth that filled his heart to the brim. People were dancing, laughing, and singing. The festival was more than just a collection of performances. It was a celebration of community, dreams, and the healing power of music. As the sun began to set, casting a soft amber light over the gathering, George looked around, taking in the scene of joy before him. It was a moment of triumph, a realization that they had not only conquered their doubts, but helped others along the way. After the final act, Clara rushed toward him, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "We did it! Did you see everyone?" "We did, Clara. You were incredible up there," he said, enveloping her in a warm embrace. As laughter and music filled the air around them, George realized the foundation was no longer just about helping others. It had become a movement, a gathering of hearts united by melody and love. In that magical moment, standing amidst the echoes of their hard work, George understood the power of community. The journey had transformed them all. They were no longer bound by fear, but rather lifted by hope, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. The festival was not the end. It was merely a beginning, one that would spur them on to embrace new adventures, create new stories, and change the lives of many more children together. In the weeks following the festival, the excitement lingered through the community like a vibrant melody. George and Clara poured themselves into planning the next steps for their foundation, driven by the success they had recently achieved. Families expressed gratitude for the joy the festival brought, and children began to embrace music as a means of expression. One sunny afternoon, George and Clara sat on the porch of the foundation's office, the sound of chirping birds and rustling leaves creating a peaceful backdrop. George strummed his guitar absently, the chords filling the air with warmth. "We should make this a yearly thing, Clara. Another festival." "Really?" Clara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "That would be awesome. But what if this time we invite kids from other towns?" "That sounds like a fantastic idea," George replied, feeling a swell of motivation. "We can build a bigger platform for them to share their music and stories." As they planned, Clara suggested they create a songwriting workshop. "We could put together stories of kids and turn them into songs. It could be our theme for the next festival." George chuckled softly. "You know, that's a brilliant idea. Every story has the power to touch someone else's heart, and music will tie them all together." That very day, they set off to organize a series of songwriting sessions, encouraging local children to come and share their experiences. Laughter filled the hall as Clara took the lead, her confidence shining bright as she guided her peers in expressing their emotions through music. However, amidst the bursts of laughter, Clara struggled one afternoon. "What if no one listens to our songs?" she asked, her voice tinged with worry. Sitting beside her, George placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's not about how many people listen. It's about sharing our truths. Every song matters, and every voice counts." Encouraged, Clara nodded, and with renewed determination they pushed forward. The showcase days arrived, and the air buzzed with excitement as families filed into the venue, eager to hear the children sing. As Clara prepared to perform, George stood backstage watching her, soaked in pride. She took the stage, her heart racing as she looked out at the crowd. "Hi, everyone. Tonight, I'll sing Every Voice Matters, a song about believing in yourself and never giving up." As she performed, the audience was spellbound. Clara's voice cut through the silence, filled with emotion and strength, resonating deeply in the hearts of those present. George felt tears prick at his eyes, overwhelmed by the joy that radiated from her performance, a testament to their journey together. When she finished, the room erupted into applause, echoing with cheers. Clara beamed, rushing off the stage to George's open arms. "We did it!" she exclaimed, her joy infectious. "Yes, we did. You were absolutely amazing," George replied, warmth flooding his heart as he lifted her up into a hug. As the night faded into memory, George realized they hadn't just created a simple event. They had sparked a movement. The foundation had grown into a legacy filled with stories, support, and hope. Later, Outside, under a starry sky, Clara turned to him and asked, "Mr. Strait, do you think we've really made a difference?" "I know we have," he said, his voice steady with conviction. "The impact of what we're building together goes far beyond music. It's about breaking barriers and building a community of strength and understanding." Feeling a swell of gratitude, they stood together in the moment, united by the experiences and connections forged through their work. What started as a mission to help children had blossomed into a journey of empowerment, one where music had become a vehicle for healing and expression. In that serene autumn night, George knew their story was just beginning. Together, they would continue to inspire change and nurture dreams, crafting melodies that echoed with resilience and hope for generations to come. Their legacy was not only the songs they wrote, but the lives they touched along the way. A beautiful testament to the human spirit and its ability to uplift and unite through the power of music.